I thought paying child support meant doing right by my daughter. For 3 years after the divorce, I sent every payment on time. $1,200 every month like clockwork. My ex-wife Brooke and I kept things civil. We talked about Emma, our 7-year-old daughter, and nothing else. When Brooke remarried Trevor, a financial advisor, who seemed to have it all together, I figured things would only get easier. Emma would have stability, 2 parents in one home, maybe even a better life than I could give her in my modest apartment. I never imagined that call would come. The one where Brooke demanded I triple my payments, where she told me they wanted to never worry about money again. On my dime. Before I tell you how greed destroyed a family, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. If you believe in fighting for what is right, hit that like button and subscribe, because what I discovered made me question everything about trust and money. Now let me take you back to where it all started to fall apart. I work as a mechanical engineer at a mid-sized manufacturing company outside of Seattle. Nothing fancy, but steady. I make around $75,000 a year before taxes. Enough to live comfortably, save a little, and take care of Emma. After Brooke and I divorced 3 years ago, we split on decent terms. No screaming matches, no throwing dishes. We just grew apart. She wanted excitement. I wanted stability. We could not find middle ground, so we let go. The court ordered me to pay $1,200 a month in child support. Fair enough. Emma deserved every penny. I got her every other weekend, and one evening a week for dinner. Those moments became everything to me. Taking her to the park, making pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse on Sunday mornings, reading bedtime stories about brave princesses and talking dragons. She would curl up next to me on the couch, her small hand in mine, and for those hours, the world felt right. I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment after the divorce. Small, but clean. I slept on a futon in the living room and gave Emma the bedroom for when she stayed over. I decorated it with stars on the ceiling that glowed at night. Stuffed animals lined the shelves. I saved every extra dollar I had in a college fund for her. By the time she turned 18, I wanted her to have options. Opportunities I never had. My relationship with Brooke stayed neutral. We exchanged texts about pickup times and doctor appointments. Nothing personal. When she started dating Trevor about a year after our divorce, I did not mind. Emma deserved to see her mom happy. 8 months ago, they got married. I met Trevor a handful of times during drop-offs. Tall guy. Always wore expensive watches and button-down shirts even on weekends. He shook my hand with a grip just a bit too firm. Smiled with teeth that looked too white. Something about the way he looked at me, like I was beneath him, rubbed me wrong. But I kept quiet. For Emma. Then came that Wednesday night in late September. I was sitting at my kitchen table eating leftover pasta and reviewing some blueprints for work when my phone rang. Brooke. I answered expecting a quick question about Emma's soccer schedule. Her voice was cold, clipped, different from the usual distant politeness. Garrett, we need to talk. Okay. What is up? Trevor and I have been discussing things. We need you to increase your child support payments. I set down my fork. Increase. By how much? $3,600 a month. I nearly choked. That is 3 times what I pay now. Why? Trevor and I want to give Emma the best life possible. Private school, piano lessons, summer camps in Europe. We want to make sure she never has to worry about money. And honestly, Garrett, $1,200 does not cut it anymore. My jaw clenched. Brooke, I pay what the court ordered. Emma has everything she needs. She deserves more than just what she needs. She deserves what she wants. Trevor has been working hard to give us a good life, but raising a child is expensive. You are her father. You should want to contribute more. This is about Trevor, is it not? Her voice turned sharp. This is about Emma. If you refuse, we will take you back to court. Trevor has an excellent lawyer. You will lose. My heart pounded. You are threatening me. I am telling you how this is going to go. Think about it, Garrett. We will talk next week." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there staring at my phone, the pasta cold and forgotten. $3,600 a month. That was nearly half my take-home pay. Rent, groceries, gas, savings, all gone. I would barely survive. But the worst part was not the money. It was the threat, the coldness in her voice, the realization that Trevor was pulling strings behind the scenes, and the fear that I might lose Emma completely if I did not comply. That night, I could not sleep. I lay on my futon, staring at the ceiling, doing the math over and over. Even if I picked up extra hours at work, there was no way I could afford that payment and keep a roof over my head. By 3 in the morning, I made a decision. I needed help. The next day, I called a family lawyer named Mr. Patterson. He had helped a co-worker through a custody battle a few years back. His office was downtown, a small space cluttered with legal books and file boxes. He was in his late 50s, gray hair, and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. I explained everything: the demand, the threat, the timeline. He listened, nodding occasionally, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. "Garrett, they have no legal grounds to demand an increase unless your income has significantly gone up or Emma's needs have drastically changed. Has either happened? No. I make the same salary. Emma goes to public school. She is healthy. Nothing has changed. Then they are bluffing. If they take you to court, you will need to provide financial records proving your income and expenses. As long as you have been paying on time and meeting your obligations, the judge will side with you. But what if they lie? What if they make up expenses? Then we fight back with evidence. I will not lie to you, Garrett. Legal battles are expensive. Retainers start at $5,000. If this drags on, it could cost more. But based on what you have told me, I think we can win." $5,000. I winced. That was a big chunk of my savings. But what choice did I have? Let them bully me, let them take more than I could give, and lose my apartment, lose my ability to see Emma. "Do it," I said. "Whatever it takes." He nodded. "We will file a response if they officially take you to court. In the meantime, document everything. Save every text, every email, any interaction with Brooke or Trevor. If they try to manipulate you or make threats, we need proof." I left his office feeling a mix of determination and dread. The fight had only just begun. A week later, the envelope arrived. Official court documents. Brooke and Trevor were suing me for increased child support. The petition claimed that my income was potentially higher than reported, and that Emma's needs had significantly increased. They were accusing me of hiding money, of cheating the system. My hands shook as I read the words. I called Mr. Patterson immediately. He requested copies of my tax returns, pay stubs, and bank statements for the past 3 years. I spent the weekend gathering everything, proof that I had nothing to hide, every dollar accounted for. By Monday, we filed our response refuting every claim. But the damage was already done. The stress started eating at me. I could not focus at work. My boss noticed my distraction during meetings. My coworkers asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine. But I was not. At night, I lay awake, wondering how this would end. The worst part came 2 weeks later. I showed up at Brooke's house on Friday evening to pick up Emma for the weekend. She lived in a nice neighborhood now. Big houses with manicured lawns. Trevor's car, a sleek black Audi, sat in the driveway. I knocked on the door. Brooke answered, arms crossed. "Emma cannot come this weekend." "What? Why?" "Trevor signed her up for ballet classes. She is busy." "You did not tell me about ballet classes. That is my weekend." "Well, she has commitments now. You will have to adjust." I clenched my fists. "Brooke, the custody agreement says every other weekend. You cannot just cancel." Take it up with your lawyer." She shut the door in my face. I stood there on the porch furious and helpless. I texted Mr. Patterson. He said we could file a motion for contempt, but it would take time. Meanwhile, I went home to an empty apartment. The next weekend, same thing. "Emma has a birthday party," Brooke said at the door. The weekend after that, "She is tired. She needs rest." Excuses stacked on excuses. Out of 8 days a month I was supposed to see my daughter, I was lucky to get 2. When I finally did see Emma in mid-October, she seemed different. Quieter. She hugged me, but not as tightly. We went to the park like always, but she did not run to the swings the way she used to. Instead, she sat on the bench next to me, picking at her shoelaces. "Daddy, how come I do not see you as much anymore?" My throat tightened. "I have been trying, sweetheart. Your mom and I are working some things out." She looked up at me with those big brown eyes. "Uncle Trevor said you do not want to pay for me anymore. Is that true?" My heart shattered. They were poisoning her against me, filling her head with lies. I knelt down so we were eye to eye. "Emma, listen to me. I love you more than anything in this world. I would do anything for you. Do not ever think I do not want to take care of you. I promise you, I am fighting to see you more, not less." She nodded, but I saw the confusion in her face, the seed of doubt. They were taking her away from me, one lie at a time. That night Trevor called me directly. It was the first time he had ever contacted me. His voice was smooth, confident, condescending. "Garrett, let us be adults about this. If you just agree to the increase, we can settle everything out of court. No lawyers, no drama. Just do the right thing for Emma." I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. "I cannot afford $3,600 a month. You know that. Then maybe you should get a better job. Or a second job. That is what responsible fathers do." I am a responsible father. I have been paying every month for 3 years without missing a payment. But Emma deserves more. Brooke and I can give her the life she deserves. Private school, travel, culture. You are holding her back. I am her father. Do not you dare tell me I am holding her back." He laughed. A cold, mocking sound. "You can be defensive all you want, Garrett. But at the end of the day, you do not have the resources we do. And if you keep fighting us, Emma will figure that out. She will see who really cares about her future." I wanted to scream, to tell him what I really thought. But I forced myself to stay calm. "We will see what the court says." "Yes, we will." He hung up. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. I did not care. I sat on the floor, head in my hands, trying not to fall apart. A month later, we had our first preliminary hearing. Brooke's lawyer, a sharp woman in her 40s, named Mrs. Caldwell, came out swinging. She painted me as a neglectful father who refused to invest in his daughter's future. She claimed I had undisclosed income, that I was selfish, that Emma suffered because of my unwillingness to provide. I sat there in that cold courtroom, listening to lies twist my reality. Mr. Patterson did his best to counter, but the damage felt heavy. When we left, I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. I felt like the world was crushing me. Then, one afternoon in early November, something shifted. I stopped at a coffee shop near my apartment. As I waited for my order, I heard someone call my name. I turned. It was Kate, an old friend of Brooke's. We had been friendly during the marriage but lost touch after the divorce. She approached cautiously. "Garrett, hey, how are you? Hanging in there. You?" She hesitated, glancing around like she was nervous. "Can we talk for a minute, privately?" We sat at a corner table. She stirred her coffee, not meeting my eyes. Finally, she spoke. "I need to tell you something. About Brooke and Trevor." I leaned forward. "What is it?" "They are in serious financial trouble. Trevor made some bad investments last year. Real estate deals that fell through. He lost over $200,000. They took out loans, maxed out credit cards. Their house is mortgaged to the hilt. I heard Brooke talking to another friend at a party last month. She said they desperately need money and that you should pay more because it is your responsibility. My mind raced. So, this whole lawsuit is not about Emma. It is about their debt. Kate nodded. I think so. I could not stay quiet anymore. What they are doing to you is wrong. I thanked her. My hands shook as I drove home. Everything made sense now. The desperation, the threats, the manipulation. They did not care about Emma's future. They cared about covering their mistakes. I called Mr. Patterson immediately. I need to hire a private investigator. That is expensive, Garrett. I do not care. I need proof of what they are doing. He gave me a name. Leonard. A retired police detective who now worked private cases. I met him the next day. Stocky guy with a gray mustache and sharp eyes. I explained the situation. He said he could dig into their finances, but it would cost $3,000 up front. I emptied what was left of my savings and handed him a check. 2 weeks later, Leonard called. You need to see this. I met him at a diner. He slid a folder across the table. Inside were bank statements, credit reports, court filings. Trevor owed $150,000 to the bank. Credit card debt totaled $42,000. The house was in pre-foreclosure. Trevor had been sued by 2 former clients for bad investment advice. His income had dropped over 60% in the past year. But the most damning evidence was a separate bank account, opened in both Brooke and Trevor's names 6 months ago. It was labeled Emma Fund, but the transactions told a different story. Every month, my $1,200 child support payment went into that account. But within days, the money was transferred out. $900 to pay off Trevor's credit cards. $200 to cover car payments on that black Audi. Only $100 if that actually went toward Emma's expenses. Child support misuse. It was illegal, and I had proof. Mr. Patterson reviewed the documents with a grim smile. This is exactly what we need. We will file a motion to compel financial disclosure. Force them to show where your payments have been going. If the judge sees this, they are finished. I felt a spark of hope for the first time in months. I was not just defending myself anymore. I was going on offense. We filed the motion, requested a full audit of Brooke and Trevor's finances, subpoenaed bank records, submitted evidence from Leonard showing the pattern of misuse. We also filed for a modification of custody. If Brooke was willing to lie about money, what else was she lying about? I wanted more time with Emma. I wanted to protect her. The next hearing was scheduled for mid-December. As the date approached, I gathered more evidence. I saved every text where Brooke canceled my visitation, every email where she made excuses. I got a written statement from Kate confirming what she had told me. I built a case not just about money, but about what was best for Emma. The courtroom was cold the day of the final hearing. I sat next to Mr. Patterson at the plaintiff's table. Across from us, Brooke and Trevor sat with Mrs. Caldwell. Brooke looked pale. Trevor's jaw was tight. His usual confidence cracked. Judge Harrison entered. A man in his 60s, with gray hair and a stern expression. He reviewed the filings in silence for what felt like an eternity. Then he looked up. I have read both sides' submissions. Mr. Patterson, you may present your evidence. For the next hour, Mr. Patterson laid it all out. The bank statements showing misuse of child support. The credit card bills for luxury items bought with my money. The car payments for Trevor's Audi. The pattern of Brooke denying me access to Emma without cause. The lies about my income. Leonard's report detailing their financial collapse. Mrs. Caldwell tried to object, tried to spin it as misunderstandings, but the evidence was overwhelming. Judge Harrison's expression grew darker with each revelation. When it was Brooke's turn to testify, she stammered through her answers. Yes, the money went into a shared account. Yes, some of it was used for other expenses. But they planned to pay it back. They intended to use it for Emma eventually. Judge Harrison leaned forward. Mrs. Brooke, do you understand that child support payments are legally required to be used for the child's direct benefit, not for paying off personal debts or luxury car payments? She looked at Trevor. He whispered something to Mrs. Caldwell. She stood. Your Honor, my clients were under financial strain. They made mistakes, but their intentions were to benefit the child in the long term. By buying a $50,000 Audi, the judge's voice was ice. By using child support to pay off credit cards for vacations and designer clothing, I do not see how that benefits a 7-year-old girl. Trevor tried to interject. Your Honor, I can explain. Save it. Judge Harrison shuffled his papers. I have seen enough. Here is my ruling. The courtroom went silent. The petition to increase child support is denied. Mr. Garrett has been meeting his obligations in full and on time. There is no justification for an increase based on the evidence presented. Furthermore, I am ordering Mrs. Brooke and Mr. Trevor to reimburse Mr. Garrett $28,000 for misused child support funds over the past 3 years. Payment plan to be arranged through the court. Brooke gasped. Trevor's face turned red. Judge Harrison was not finished. Additionally, I am modifying the custody arrangement. Effective immediately, Mr. Garrett will have primary physical custody of Emma. Mrs. Brooke will have visitation every other weekend and 1 evening per week. This is based on the pattern of custodial interference and the misuse of funds, which demonstrates poor judgment regarding the child's welfare. I could not breathe. Primary custody. Emma would live with me. Judge Harrison banged his gavel. This court is adjourned. I stood shaking. Mr. Patterson clapped me on the shoulder. You did it. Across the aisle, Brooke was crying. Trevor glared at me, his face twisted with anger. As we left the courtroom, he cornered me in the hallway. You just destroyed our family, he hissed. I looked him in the eye. No, you destroyed it yourself when you decided greed was more important than my daughter's well-being. He opened his mouth to respond, but Mrs. Caldwell pulled him away. I walked out of that courthouse, into the cold December air, feeling lighter than I had in months. Not triumphant, not vindictive, just relieved. Emma was coming home. 2 weeks later, Emma moved in with me. I had upgraded to a 2-bedroom apartment across town. Nothing fancy, but it had space. I spent an entire weekend decorating her room. Pink walls, a bookshelf filled with stories, a desk for homework, fairy lights strung across the ceiling. I wanted her to feel safe, loved, home. The first night she sat on her new bed clutching her stuffed rabbit, looking uncertain. I sat next to her. You okay, sweetheart? She nodded, but her eyes were sad. I miss Mommy. I know. And you will still see her. This does not mean you lost your mom. It just means you get to be with me more. Is that okay? She thought about it. Then she hugged me. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Emma. More than you will ever know. It took time. The first few weeks were an adjustment. Emma cried some nights, asked why things had changed. I explained gently without blaming Brooke. I told her that grown-ups sometimes make mistakes, but it did not mean they stopped loving her. Slowly, she settled in. I learned her routines, made her lunch every morning for school, helped with homework at the kitchen table. We established rituals. Friday nights were pizza and movie nights. Saturday mornings, we made pancakes together. Sunday afternoons, we went to the park or the library. Emma started smiling more, laughing more. She brought home paintings from art class and hung them on the fridge. She told me about her friends, her favorite teacher, the boy who pulled her hair at recess. One night, about a month after she moved in, Emma crawled into my lap while I was reading on the couch. She looked up at me. Daddy, I am happy here. My throat tightened. Yeah, yeah, I feel safe. I held her close, blinking back tears. Every fight, every sleepless night, every dollar spent on lawyers. It was all worth it for this moment. Brooke picked Emma up every other weekend. The handoffs were awkward, but civil. She looked smaller somehow, defeated. I did not gloat. I did not rub it in. I just focused on Emma. Trevor was rarely around during pickups. I heard through mutual acquaintances that they were separated. Their marriage had not survived the financial collapse and the court battle. I felt a pang of sadness for Brooke, but not for Trevor. He had made his choices. As the months passed, I started to reflect on everything that had happened. I thought about how quickly money can corrupt, how desperation can turn people into strangers. Brooke was not an evil person. She had just been influenced by someone who prioritized wealth over integrity. She had made terrible decisions, but I believed deep down she loved Emma. She just lost her way. I also realized something important. Emma did not need private schools or trips to Europe. She needed stability, love, a parent who showed up, who listened, who made her feel valued, not because of what money could buy, but because of who she was. Every night when I tucked her in, when she hugged me and said goodnight, I knew I had given her something far more valuable than anything Trevor's money could have bought. I had given her a home. Looking back, I realized greed does not just destroy bank accounts. It destroys relationships, trust, and families. It blinds people to what truly matters. Brooke and Trevor thought money would solve their problems, would give Emma a better life. But all it did was tear everything apart. Emma is thriving now, not because I have more money than Trevor, but because she has stability and love. She knows her dad fights for her, that I will always put her first. That is worth more than any dollar amount. Sometimes the best revenge is not winning in court. It is proving that integrity matters more than wealth, that being present matters more than being rich, that love cannot be bought or manipulated or demanded. And every time Emma hugs me goodnight, every time she laughs at one of my terrible jokes, every time she says she is happy, I know I made the right choice. So let me ask you, have you ever had to fight for what was right, even when it seemed impossible? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories about standing up for what matters. Share this with someone who needs to hear that integrity always wins in the end. Thank you for listening. And remember, your worth is not measured by your wallet, but by the love you give and the character you show. Take care of yourselves and the people you love. Until next time.